the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight, where we interview local businesses and introduce them to the community and the world at large virtually. Hi, my name is Alan Cohen. I'm on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce. It is my pleasure that I get to interview these wonderful people and businesses. Today we have a special guest for you. Her name is Heidi Gross. She's the publisher and creative director of Autumn Years magazine. Heidi, nice to see you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. So your magazine is a wonderful resource for seniors. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the magazine first?
Sure. The magazine was started on a walk, actually, about 8.5 years ago. At that time, I was a companion for my neighbor who was living alone. And, he didn't have really a lot of companionship at the time. His wife had divorced him. He was in his late 70s. And we became friends. And during my time of being a companion with him, I noticed a lot of the magazines that I was helping him put in recycling, and none of them were being read. They were still in the plastic wrap. When I asked him why they weren't, he wasn't reading them, he was pretty honest to say that there was nothing of interest that spoke to him. So that triggered an idea for me based on my publishing background that, maybe I should think about creating a publication that is, geared towards seniors. And, talking to him, who was an amazing human being, his name is John Karinsich. He was a really good soundboard, and using him as the ideal model to the person who would be reading it, I based the magazine really on him. So that's basically where it started and where it came from.
Oh, that's incredible. So it was a little spark of inspiration that it really triggered it.
It was. He was an incredible human being. So this magazine is really founded with him in mind. And he was actually one of our first people that we did feature in there.
So are there many other magazines that, go to that same demographics of for seniors?
There really isn't anything of this nature. We are really an editorially driven magazine. The focus is people and inspiration and ideas. And it's really geared towards being mailed out to people who might not be as technologically savvy and on the internet as much. So when they get the quarterly publication, they really, first of all, they are very eager to receive it because they never know who they're going to know in the magazine. It is Bergen County based, so the people that we feature are all Bergen County residents. And it's really a nice way of connecting people when they see someone they might know, or they read an article and it's something that triggers something that they can relate to. So we do get a lot of people who actually respond to us through email or phone calls, just complimenting the magazine and saying, thank you so much for offering this.
Yeah, so then it is somewhat of a niche magazine.
Yeah, I would say it is. Definitely. I mean, AARP is a senior publication, but that is, that's, countrywide. It has a different thrust. So this is really people-centric. It really is.
Great. So as an entrepreneur and a designer and graphics yourself, to come up with such a unique idea is really commendable and really terrific. And that's great.
Thank you.
How long has the magazine been being published?
Right. The spring issue, which goes to press on Monday, will be completing our 7th year. And I'm very excited because in the very beginning, there were a couple naysayers that said, well, I don't know, publishing, it's, print is dying. And I had a lot of people who were like, if you can make it past 5 years, then I think you're good. So I'm very happy to say that we're going to be entering our 8th year with our summer issue.
That's terrific. If you could reach your 5th year, if you could get past your 1st year, I would say that's the main goal. Then 2 years, okay, 3 years for any business. Sometimes it takes to get off the ground.
That's right. That's right.
So you're really steamed ahead on that. So really, what got you? You mentioned, of course, this gentleman, but you were really doing graphics before that. It says you're more onto the graphic side.
Yes, I went to school, to art school, and I had, as you mentioned, my BFA in graphic design. I have corporate experience. I worked at KPMG and their marketing department for about 10 years. I left that to be more of an independent designer to raise my kids to be more active in their lives. After 9/11, a lot of the work I was working on really went downhill. So I found myself in a situation where I was on that border of I didn't want to go back to work full time because I did want to, my mission really was to raise my children and be, active for them and there for them. And, things were just slowing down from that perspective. So to create this, I had the time and the means to be able to do this really. So, and I'm very fortunate that I wasn't really looking at this as a major source of income. If that happens, that's wonderful, but it's really more of a community give back as well. And for me personally, being an artist, every issue is a piece of art for me. So I really look at this as my own creation.
Yeah, it's really resourceful for all these people, and it is a wonderful way for the elderly, or whatever you want to call them, to really see what's going on. So tell us about some of the type of articles that are in these issues.
Sure, I'm always learning something with every issue, which is so exciting for me. My editor, her name is Carol Munns, and I will be proud to say she's going to be 80 in September, just as an FYI, and she's very, happy and proud to share her age as well. We worked together many years ago at KPMG. She finds most of the articles, which is wonderful. I'm the person who photographs them and designs their, the layout, and I get to meet them, which is amazing. So there's a lot of interesting people. There's a lot of interesting not-for-profit organizations that are out there. Our winter issue, we featured a hydroponic farm in Hackensack. That is a truly an amazing, where would you find that? I wouldn't have no idea that something like that exists. So going there to photograph, it was truly amazing. And actually the funds that are raised through this farm goes to an autistic foundation. So I'm learning so much for every issue that gets put out there. Our winter issue with Samuel Lee, this is a great one as well. He is basically a storyteller of the African-American people in Englewood and their impact on their role in Northern Bergen County. So I personally get to meet some tremendous people and really just showcase their stories to others.
That's great. So I also noticed you have articles on health prevention, medical conditions and all that. In the environment, you mentioned finances, technology, assisted living. So you're really running the gamut as a resource for these seniors.
Yeah, it is truly a resource on that level. We have a lot of readers that reach out to us, which I truly love. They pick up the phone and call, or they email on different topics that they would like to see in the magazine. Not everybody is internet savvy. So it is nice to be able to, provide this information to them. And any of the articles in the health and welfare and finances, they're all pertinent to the over 60 population and Bergen County. And I always say and beyond, because anyone can read this magazine. We feature Bergen County residents, but it goes beyond the borders of New Jersey. And it's just great read. It's great information.
Great. You mentioned that to me, and I was quite surprised before we started the interview that it goes out to 24 or whatever amount of states. That
happens basically when someone is featured and either they move or their loved ones want to see the magazine. So they go on and they subscribe to it. It is a free publication, which of course, anything that's free, why not take advantage of it and utilize the information and the resources that are there. So it's not intended to be out of the state, but I'm not going to say no to it. It's kind of like, why not? Why not spread it around? And the name Autumn Years has been trademarked. So this publication could actually go to any county in any state and follow the business model that was created to feature people in any particular county. So, it's just all good.
It's all good.
It's all good. It's really.
I mean, that brings me to the next level. Obviously, you trademarked it, so that business-wise, you got your business side together, but also that it can go to these other states. So when you first mentioned that to me, I obviously the first thing I thought about, will you expand, do you think, to other states or other counties, maybe just in New Jersey first, or that you can expand the publication, be a nationwide product?
The possibilities are endless with this magazine. Again, I raised my children throughout this publication and working. They're out older now, so there's more time to spend on looking forward to that, and that is definitely a possibility. That's something that if someone approached me in another county and said, I'd like to pick up your model, how can we work together? I would be very open to that.
But they got to approach you. What about you approaching them?
Why not? It could happen.
One county at a time.
Yeah.
After 8 years, being successful for that long really shows how important this magazine really is. So I think at that point, business-wise, I would say sky's the limit. Or
the sky is the limit. And the nice thing about this publication, it's requested. When I started the publication 8 years ago, we purchased the list with a certain demographic. And since that has happened, we have more than 50% of people who have requested this publication, which is amazing. So I know the publication is being read and utilized. In fact, if there's a typo in an ad or anywhere, I get called out by my readers. They'll actually call and say, there's a typo on this page. Yeah. So it's not the editorial, but usually it's in the ads.
Yeah, I'm like that too, because I do many things, and if my eye is like that too. If I see something wrong, I say, how did they let that go?
It's a testament to the fact that this magazine is really read and scrutinized, which I think is great. And and everyone makes mistakes. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but it happens.
That's great. So the fact that it can be more spread, it is more spread in the fact that you do have your website and, of course, social media.
Yeah.
So how are you working on that so that your message is spread to a wider,
Yeah. So social media, internet is an amazing way of marketing the magazine. I learn as I go. As I mentioned, I have a BFA in design, not business. So I take everyone and anyone's suggestions as best I can. I have a Facebook following, which is wonderful. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I also do something which is very nice. It's a monthly email calendar blast, which goes out, and people actually really enjoy and utilize that as well. In the printed version of the magazine, we have 2 pages dedicated to a county calendar of events, which covers 3 months worth of activities. A lot people actually came to us and said, we'd like to know more. So the email blast that we have to our subscribers, which is over 800 requested emails, which we know does not bounce, it just goes to the people who request it, are basically monthly events that are happening, from library seminars, health and welfare seminars, museums, farmers markets, a little bit of everything, really. And that usually goes out the 24th of every month. So that's another way of promoting the magazine as well.
Right. Is the magazine actually online or just portions of it?
Yes, the entire magazine. If you go to the website, Autumn Years Magazine or Autumn Years Mag, you will see the current issue. You just click on it and it will take you to basically the full magazine that you can see. And you can see past issues as well, which is really nice. So you can reference older issues.
That's terrific. So you are virtual in that respect.
Absolutely. We have to be.
So how many actual issues are printed and sent out?
So we print 15,000 copies and we mail about 12,000 and change. And I say that because each issue we get more subscribers. So it started out, we had purchased a list for 9,500 names. And then throughout time, it just has grown so that there are, more subscribers to it. So
15,000, You send out 12,000. What do you do with the other 3,000?
Okay, good question. So we supply our advertisers with it. Our two major hospitals, Valley Hospital, who I have to give them a big shout out because they have been, they took a chance on us in the very, very beginning. And they have two full page ads that they contribute. And Englewood Hospital just got on board, which we're excited about as well. So we provide hospitals with the magazines so that they distribute them throughout their clinics and waiting rooms. In addition to that, we drop off 20 plus copies to every senior center in Bergen County. And we have an expo that in the past, we've held twice a year, but because of COVID, we haven't been able to do that. And that's another way of also getting our word out, where we have magazines there as well. So between the advertisers, the senior centers, the advertisers, and the expos that we hold, that's where it goes out to.
Do you see that expanding, obviously, as more people are reading it, more people want it?
Yes, more people want it. Exactly. That's exactly right. Our ratio, what's that?
No, I was just saying you could reach out to, you named two hospitals.
Yes, exactly. We're still trying to get some other hospitals on board to, to support the magazine. And which brings me to another point. The magazine is free because of the advertisers. That's how our expenses are very low. The biggest cost is the printing and the mailing. And our writers that we pay. But since I have a lot of hands-on activity with it, I design it, of course. I do my own photography, though occasionally I do hire a woman to help me out. But I keep everything at a minimum. My office is in my home, so it works out that, very well there. I don't live beyond my means with this magazine. And again, my purpose is to really keep the integrity and the quality of the publication at a very high level so that it's not just a flimsy magazine that people are going to discard. They actually hold on to it and they keep their volumes, for a long time.
Sure. Yeah, nice. I have a couple of copies before I met you, and I have them around. I brought them out and I showed you before because it is a really nice quality print. The cover is a nice texture to it. The inside, of course, is shiny, glossy. But, it's a nice magazine for resources, not only today, for later. Because like I said, when we were talking about the topics of health, there's some yoga articles. You talk about finances, of course. You're talking about, planning your nest egg, and so those type of topics are so important to us. And a lot of these seniors may not be getting it anywhere else, or, well, maybe somewhere else, but right. It kind of, it's not only one area, it's many areas. So in that one read that you're going through, you're really expanding yourself into so many different areas that are very interesting to seniors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the idea with it too. The nice thing about it, as well as when it sits with people and they really have their hands on it and they look at it and they keep each issue, other people come to them, visit, and they pick it up and then they see things in there that are interesting to them as well. And as far as the advertising goes, it has a long shelf life. So it's not a very quick in a publication and they toss it in recycling. They really do hold on to it, which is nice.
That's great. So you've been doing it 8 years. Have you seen the needs of these seniors change through the years? I mean, obviously today's world is a lot different than 8 years ago. It's every 6 months to a year. All of a sudden, we don't know what's going on. Have you seen the needs change, or are they similar throughout the years?
I think they're similar. I think I like to look at myself as an advocate for seniors because I do think, and many times they just get overlooked with as far as the quality of what they can offer to society. I think that there is the never-ending mindset that once you become a certain age, you're not capable of doing something in the workforce, which is so wrong. There are people in their 70s that still want to work, and they're, why shouldn't they? They're capable of doing it, but there's a lot of discrimination about that as well. So that's another big issue that I have, is that just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you're not qualified to do and perform a job. In fact, if nothing else, they could be more focused because they don't have the children to raise and, worry about things that a younger person might be worried about. I think there's more commitment that they could offer. So that is something that I've noticed over the years too, which is a really sad thing in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's why when we feature people, when we show the world basically, in my opinion, what they're doing, it's like anyone can do this. Don't give up on it.
Right. The 70s is the new 50s. So
That's right.
however you say that expression. Well, as I'm getting older, it's the same thing. I'm faced with different things of my career, changing my career. I've changed from a music industry. I'm also doing real estate now. I'm a professor at one of the colleges, William Patterson. I wish I could slow down, and people say, aren't you ready to retire? I mean, I'm not at that age. I say, retire. If I was retiring, I'd still be interviewing Heidi Gross or somebody. I still want to be, my mind didn't really stop. I mean, God forbid something happens to somebody, of course. But I think as we do get older, and I think the lifespan is a little longer, because I believe, people my age or older, the seniors you're talking about, are taking care of themselves a little bit more.
Absolutely.
More aware of what we need to take care of. I believe when my parents were getting to this age, they followed from that, 50s, 60s, 70s, junk food and this food, getting away from a lot of things to be a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit more, where I think people during this time in that I'm seeing want to stay active, want to stay healthy, and realize that we can live, a much longer, healthy life. So we need articles like this and papers like this, magazines, to inspire us. So it is an inspiration thing.
I agree 1,000%. I think that when people retire, when they say they retire, you should never really retire. You need to do something. And whether it's a not-for-profit or a charity that you're a part of, you can offer so much. But the worst thing you can do is sit home and call it quits and not keep your mind active. Again, I just love to use my editor as a role model. Again, she's going to be 80 in September. You would never know that. She's just a spitfire. She keeps me on track.
Yeah.
She is truly an amazing woman that has so much knowledge and experience, that she brings so much of that to the magazine. She's truly incredible. So she's my role model.
She's your role model. That's great. Okay, so you did go on to something about isolation.
Yes.
With the pandemic, a lot of seniors are in isolation. Have you changed any articles that gear towards that, or has that changed anything in your publication, or at least an area of focus, or you don't really want to just go on that topic?
So that's an interesting subject to approach. We don't really offer a lot of information about COVID itself, because it's changing nonstop, and we are a quarterly publication. But what we do offer is a place in the magazine called In My Words, which is a great one-page basically venue for anyone to write in. And we've had a couple writers who have written in about their experience living in a nursing home or living in assisted living, and how they survived being in isolation. And it shows perseverance, and it shows what they did to basically get through their time of isolation, their loneliness. So in that sense, we keep this, it's called In My Words, and we keep that open. And we have had about 2 articles. We have another one coming out. And it's a great place for people to address it and to just, get it out there. And again, the hopes basically is that other people read that and see that they're not alone in this. So, and we are in talks actually with a mental health professional to write for us as well in the health and welfare section, just to address a little bit more of that on a clinical side.
Yeah, because I think that's, we're all facing that right now. I know my mom lives in Florida, and she used to be so active, playing mahjong, playing poker, playing this, walking to the clubhouse. The clubhouse is closed.
Right.
all her friends are not visiting each other. She doesn't have like a super great hobby. She wasn't a hobbyist. She didn't do a lot of puzzles. And her thinking to keep active was going out, meeting the girls or whoever it is, going to dinner,
Sure.
and playing these games. And now for the last year, she is basically in isolation. And I noticed in that year a digression of just her mindset.
Yeah.
And I think seniors, without keeping that mind sharp, obviously, the mind controls the body too. So without that, then you start seeing, other things coming into play. So it's a tough thing, especially now with COVID. So hopefully we're getting out of it, but,
Yeah.
prolonging it, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's been tough. It's been tough for everyone. It's been tough for seniors in particular, because they are afraid to go out. And my parents are still alive. I'm very fortunate, and they have each other, which is wonderful. But it's the ones that are alone. I get phone calls from people that just feel they can talk to me. And that's another part of the magazine, is just the whole people version, where I am approachable, and call me. And there are people who are lonely and they just call to talk, and, I make time for them.
Right. So you mentioned your parents. Thank God they are alive. Are they your biggest critics?
They're my biggest fans.
And critics. Come on. Don't they say, yeah, come on, Heidi, you do this? Or no, they just.
No, they're not. They are supportive 1,000%. They really are. They're really good. And at my expos that I have, which it is very sad that we weren't able to do those this past year. We have over 300 seniors that come. We provide free breakfast and free lunch, and there's all sources of information that are there. And my parents are always there to help, run it and make it happen smoothly. So they are not my biggest critics. They're my biggest fans.
That's my daughter, Heidi. There she is. Well, it's really a wonderful magazine. I've enjoyed it before I ended up speaking with you or knowing about you. So to me, it was a bit of a thrill. I said, oh, great. I read this magazine. I've been getting it. I saw it. I went to we were going to advertise our real estate company, Living Great. And that's the name of my company, is Living Great Real Estate. So it's all about being positive. It's the only way to live. That's my tagline. So mindset, you have to live great. You have to have that positive energy to keep going, because it is tough through the years. So keeping that energy, that whole philosophy of living great or doing well with this magazine, of course, really helps people stay active, alive, and healthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one last thing, I definitely have to give a shout out to my husband. He is my biggest critic and my biggest supporter also. He's up there with my parents. So he's a great soundboard.
Yeah, he's on both sides. That's great. Let me just ask you another thing. I know that you're a member of the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience, your networking, or your...
Sure. So far, I joined not that long ago, and so far it's been wonderful. I've had a couple one-on-ones, which is a great way of networking since we haven't been able to see each other or actually meet in person. The Zoom calls have been amazing, actually. Tony, the director, is amazing. Very good with communicating to everyone what has to get done. But I think it's I've only been in there for maybe 4 months, 3-4 months, and it's a really great chamber to be a part of. I'm very happy, and I'm happy to help out in any way and get the magazines to more of the Fair Lawn seniors as well, and to just help the chamber as much as I could.
Right. Are you a member of any other chambers?
I am. I'm a member of the Allendale Chamber of Commerce, which is where I live and work, and the Waldwick Chamber of Commerce, and the Ridgewood Chamber of Commerce. And everyone has every chamber has a different flair to it, which I really like. I like the diversity of how they approach business and opportunities. I mean, the common thread is the networking is most important, which we do need to do. But it's nice. It's just nice to meet more people. And while I meet more people, it's not just the advertisers I'm looking for. I'm also looking to connect with people who could be featured in the magazine as well and offer insight for any articles.
Right. Are you a member of the Rotary by any chance?
I am. I'm a member of the Allendale Saddle River Rotary. I was the past president for 2 years. And when I joined about 7 years ago, I had no idea what I was getting into. I thought it was a networking organization. And then I realized it's really more, it's a humanitarian organization, which I love being a part of. We're very active in the Gift of Life Foundation and supporting Oasis scholarships, just you name it. I'm very proud to be a part of the chamber, the chamber too, but the Rotary. It's a great club. And I love their 4-way, statement. It's just very positive, and that's how I like to live my life.
Right. I actually just joined the Rotary a few months back myself.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
I found it was great, of course, the networking, but I've always been, about, the good things, peace worldwide. And I wrote quite a few songs on
nice.
topics. I won a bunch of awards from the World Peace Organization for some of our titles. And so, right now I'm taking a low profile, but as I'm understanding it more, just like you don't realize really what it's about until you're involved with it. So I'm seeing how wide of a reach it can actually be. So,
yeah.
So, Heidi, before we close you out, I would like to bring on, we do have a guest with us today. Her name is Melissa Wolf. I believe she's with the Fair Lawn Chamber as well. And Melissa, if you're with us, it'd be terrific if you could come on and at least say hello to us.
Yes, I made it work. I'm very proud of myself.
How are you, Melissa? And where are you from? And, where are you working at this point?
Oh, I work at HVA Medical Group. I know they've been a member for a number of years with the Fair Lawn Chamber. So I got an email from Tony, and I joined HVA in September. So I haven't had the chance to participate in any chamber events yet.
Okay. So the HBA is what?
HVA Medical Group. We're located on Broadway.
Yes.
We have 18 locations throughout, northern New Jersey, but our main office is in Fair Lawn.
Right. Do you service also seniors at this facility?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was really interested to hear about the magazine because I think a lot of what Heidi said is very true about the senior population, and to have a magazine targeted with their interests is great. And I know with COVID, there are a lot of issues that, that come with that for seniors. So yeah, we definitely serve. Our group is mainly, we do a lot of cardiology, but we also have primary care and a lot of other specialties. And we're affiliated with Englewood. So they just opened an imaging center right across the street.
Great. So Heidi's going to bring over a few magazines. Now,
yeah. Hey, that'll be terrific. Oh, I had no idea.
Nice. That's terrific. Yeah, I think both what you're doing for seniors is terrific. I mean, in certain cultures are better than our culture, where in the Asian community or whatever, everybody lives in the house. Everybody comes in, right? And they keep the seniors and the growing, family members part of the family. Where a lot of in the United States, we send them off to these senior living facilities, so I think that's a little bit tough. And, it's hard. My wife keeps saying that to my 2 daughters, you better not put us in a home. I want a written confirmation now that you're not putting me in a home. And then I say but let's say they only live in a 2-bedroom house, or they're only here. They have their 4 kids, 2 kids. How do you really expect them to take care of us like that? And I think that's a tough situation right now for seniors of you're sending me off to a home, and, I'm still active. I still want to be around. So do you find that, Heidi? I mean, you're dealing with them more about the culture.
Yeah.
Our culture versus maybe other cultures that are keeping, the seniors with them.
Yeah, definitely. The man who inspired me, he stayed in his home and he never wanted to move out. So his kids were very accommodating to make his house basically an assisted living. He had aides and he had nurses come and go. But I understand that it is hard to consider that whole assisted living as the next step. But I would say that we've come a long way with assisted livings, where they are they provide stages where you can move in when you're completely functional and viable to do things, and then just if you have health issues, you can move throughout as you need to the facility. So the facilities nowadays, I think they've changed it up so much, and they do offer a lot, where some people like to go to them because it's social too. If they don't have a lot of friends, if their friends passed away, they get to meet new friends and different environments wherever they choose to go to. So it really, you have to research and see what options you have, but there are options. So staying at home obviously is one if you choose to stay at home, and then moving out into senior communities, assisted livings. The nice thing is there are options, which is really important.
Well, I've noticed, since I've only been doing real estate about 3 years. My wife is the broker of our company. And I really just was changing, from my music industry. I still do that into now doing real estate. So I do see a lot of seniors. I see obviously all ages now. The most troubling thing that I see when we go to try to get a listing, or we're working with somebody, we're selling somebody's house. A lot of times I go into these houses and they're so poorly kept, and I see a lot of these, whatever, living in squabble or whatever the word is, and I just can't imagine how these children let that happen to some of these seniors. And then when you're going to sell the house, nobody wants to be involved. Seniors doing it, signing a contract, and then as soon as you're ready to sign, these children who are adults all come back and fight for who's getting the money. How much goes to this one? How much goes to that one? And that's happened numerous occasions where we're cleaning out filth and dirt and this and that. And then all of a sudden these children are coming and say, well, we got this, the state, that daughter doesn't get my shit. And then they fight for the money, and it's all money at the end. And it just blows my mind. So I don't mean to bring up the negative, but I'm just.
No, but on that point also, there are a lot of companies that have sprouted up for this to address something like this. There are a lot of organizations that go in and they help to declutter the house. There's also maintenance of the house. I mean, the house that this man lived in, I helped him basically when the toilet was clogged or if there was a leak in the roof. Sometimes they're just unaware of it. And if the kids are living all around the country, they don't see what's happening. And then the person is not going to raise their hand and say, this has to get fixed, because they're a little unaware. So there's plenty of organizations out there that are really, getting more fruitful to help people who want to live independently or get their house ready to sell and just, repair things that need to be repaired. So that is something I've noticed more and more happening, which is great.
That's terrific. And by you promoting maybe some of these companies in your magazine, that senior that is there and not sure, you see that resource that they weren't thinking about.
That's right.
That's terrific. Yeah, I mean, I think it's important obviously to take care of our seniors, just like other cultures.
Absolutely. They have so much to offer.
Yeah, of course. And now all of a sudden I got a call by SCORE. SCORE is for consulting businesses. So I said, wait a second. I'm doing the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce. I'm volunteering for the Rotary. Now you want me to start, but I noticed when I first was getting in business years ago, we worked with a SCORE member who was a senior and really helped us with marketing, business plans. And it is a good way, like you said, a lot of these seniors still have so much to offer. Like my real life experience in business could really help a young individual, so you give back a few hours a week in many capacities. And I think, like you said, a lot of seniors are doing that now.
Absolutely.
Giving back.
Yeah. There's another organization we're featuring in the next issue, not to give it away, but Chore is another one.
Sure.
CHORE. Chore. Yep. That's a great organization where retired handymen, so to speak, plumbers, electricians, contractors, will go in free of charge to people's homes and install grab bars or make minor repairs for free. It's amazing, just the cost maybe of the actual material, but that is an amazing, so keep an eye out for that article in the next issue.
That's great. Great. Well, I like to thank you very much, Heidi Gross. It's been really a pleasure. Inspirational magazine that you have.
Thank you.
Really terrific resource. And I said it quite a few times in this interview, but I really believe that it is, and it's very commendable that you had this spark of an idea and followed it through. And on top of that, I like to say that it's great that you're still doing the photography for it. Yeah. So you're keeping your creative, creative, whatever you call it, muse alive in this magazine, which is great because you went into a whole different field that you knew nothing about.
Right.
You knew nothing about. You had this spark. You were able to take what you studied and learned and reshape it into something so valuable.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I love what I do. And I think when you love whatever you do, it's not a job. It's just joy. So I experience joy with this.
Great. And I want to thank our guest appearance here by Melissa Wolf. And we look forward to interviewing you and your company whenever you like to.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It was very nice to be a part of this. Nice to meet you, Heidi.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well. Alan, thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I'd like to say thank you from the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce for giving me the opportunity to interview these wonderful people and businesses and be able to spotlight them around to our local community and also to the world at large virtually. So this has been the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. My name is Alan Cohen. I am on the board of directors for the Chamber, and it certainly has been a pleasure today. Thank you all. Stay safe and be well.
Thank you.